The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico and Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning. I'm Nico and Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health and to regain our rights and freedoms. I'm Paige Clarke. Good morning.
And it's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater, but it's cloudy and 78 degrees, and we're going to have a little rain this afternoon. Got a couple tropical storms out there. And,
That's kind of nice, gives us a little reprieve from the heat. Hey, make sure you pick up our Health Signals newsletter. We got a brand new one out.
Yes,
hot
we
off
do.
the press.
Yeah, I got it someplace here.
And you can pick up some of our Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. If you're in the Tiger's Den, you can use your Tiger dollars, so take advantage of that so you can stay healthy.
That's for sure. And you can reach us at 877-927-6648 if you'd like to join the conversation. You can always reach us after hours at nico@tfnn.com.
And Paige at tfnn.com.
That's right. So today I wanted to show a little bit. I was listening to Adapt 2030 early this morning, and he had a whole bunch of stuff on there, and I wanted to kind of go over that.
And while you're pulling that up, I think it's really fascinating, Nico. What you really found is that back as late as the 50s, there were newspaper articles and so forth that indicated that we were, in fact, freezing.
Well,
right?
It's indication that of something for sure. And what these articles are showing, like this one is from July of 1954, saying that the Arctic ice is going to be probably ice-free in the Arctic in about 50 years, they said. Since warming is evident since 1910, for instance, the mean temperature in this particular place, I guess it's in Germany, Spitzenberg, is 14 degrees Fahrenheit, is up. Here in 1972, ocean to be ice-free by year 2000.
And so there was already, in other words, speculation that there was going to be change in these Arctic ice things. So what you're saying is, are they saying that we were melting, or that they were just knew that the polar caps were going to melt?
They said that the polar caps are going to melt, and all indications were probably that it was. Here's another one. This was the BBC from San Francisco.
Arctic summers ice freeze by 2013.
And we were almost there. Remember, a couple of years ago, they were actually going to go into the Northwest Passage. But what has really happened is something completely different. Let me go down here, and here we have the climate change researchers cancel the expedition after climate change makes it too dangerous because there's too much ice out there.
So, this is something you're not seeing when you tune into your three-letter news stations. You're not seeing the situation that thick Arctic ice packs are trapping multiple vessels. The ice age is now. Ice is more than 2 meters thick off of Newfoundland coast.
Yeah, and this is where all the things, and people were saying, too, on the news, I heard the other day saying, well, the ice is melting and that's why we see more icebergs out there. But what actually happens, if you throw a bunch of ice cubes in water, the water actually gets colder.
That's
so
right.
All this ice that normally would be on land in Greenland and maybe in the Antarctic now is in the ocean, and that's going to cool the oceans. I mean, it just makes common sense. And these things are drifting all the way up towards New Zealand and towards Australia, and they're coming down towards. And what's happening is the shipping lanes are really now going to have to be diverted about 400 or 500 miles, which is a day in shipping. So
Which
that means
could
costs.
Create higher costs in food.
Exactly.
So what we, for those of you that are following our conversation, is we're exposing information that indicates that, in fact, we are the reverse. The climate change is indeed happening, but it's not what we're being told. We have passed the global warming period. The global warming period has ended. We are now entering the global cooling period and can anticipate from the researchers we're following that we are entering a grand solar minimum that will result in mini ice age and cooler weather and more volatile weather.
That's the way I see it, too.
And so we like to kind of show you some news that you can use, but you probably are not seeing through the normal channels.
And here's another one that was just November 8th of 2015, that global freezing 15-year ice age to hit in just 4 years. So that's about 2019. That's in about 2 years. And this is due, as it says, as the sun prepares to hibernate. And we mentioned that we're entering a global or a solar hibernation, a solar grand minimum, and the sun's going to get quiet. And when it gets quiet, the earth gets volatile. Yeah, and it says here, once the grand minimum starts, it could take 15 years for solar activity to return to normal. A lot of the scientists are saying maybe it'll last 70 years.
Right, 15 to 70 years, depending on whether or not the cycle is...
Yeah, and there's a couple who are saying that, no, we're not really going into a mini ice age. We may be going into a full-blown one. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting subject, and I just like to bring both sides of it. So how do we tell people to use this news? We tell you to use this news to understand that there could be disruptions. Due to solar flares, we could have disruptions in the grid. We could have disruptions in our internet. We could have disruptions in the electrical system. We could have disruptions in food production, food... delivery. Yeah. So perhaps it is prudent to prep. There's a certain instance that happens when the temperature goes down and the sun is at a minimum, and when that minimum reaches a certain percentage, there's an EMP that comes from the sun. So that's electromagnetic pulse, which knocks out power lines, knocks out grids, things like that. So these things could be happening, and if a major thing like that happens, we could be months, it could be years before the electricity returns to everybody. So, this is something I think that maybe you should think about preparing for, stocking up on some food, maybe having other forms of electricity that come to your house. Solar certainly is an answer. It's not perfect yet, but there's a lot of things happening in the solar industry and in the electrical industry. There's a team, and we'll go into this after the break, there's a team, I think in Stanford, that is coming up with a way to wirelessly charge cars en route. Right, I see this. Yeah, we've got some information here from Stanford scientists are making wireless electricity and the transmissions a reality. So driving into the future, the technology that powers self-driving cars, that's pretty interesting. So we do have scientists that are looking at how things are going to happen, how we're going to be prepared. But I think really actually preparation begins, like you said, at home. And us being aware that many times what we're hearing, it could be the complete opposite. I always tell people I think we live in a 180 world. Well, we certainly get different sides of the story, and there's not just two sides. I mean, that's what we have in our political realm. There's probably some truth on both sides. Well, there's probably some truth on both sides, and there's a lot of truth in the center and everywhere. So, yeah, it's definitely climate is changing. We know this, but which way is it changing, and where can the needle fall? We really do not know, but there are signs that we're getting much more extreme weather. We're getting storms that are more intense. We're getting golf-sized, baseball-sized hail. These are all indications of things that happened to us in the past. These things always showed us that the grand solar minimum was coming. It's in the ancient records. So if we look at those things, it's time to be prepared, and that's why I bring this to you. Yes, and as we said, many times what you hear, you need to do a 180. And so when we get back, let's talk about some of the most common news that's been in the news this week regarding saturated fat and heart disease. And we'll explore that a little bit. Be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox. Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong. That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form. Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them. That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we're back. Real quick, let's take a look. We've got the new Health Signals newsletter out, and there's some good stuff there on the Electric Universe update.
Yeah, this is the whole thing we were talking about, that solar update, June of 2017. The sun is slumping and heading even lower than expected before. So this is an important article, got a lot of good charts, so please take a look at that.
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned before the break, this has been really viral and trending on Facebook and in the news. The Heart Association came out with a real strong push from major media, USAA Today and more, suggesting that coconut oil and saturated fat are not heart healthy. Well, again, like I said, do a 180. The American Heart Association has been influencing diet and heart disease prevention for the last 50 years, and where has that gotten us? But the number one position for heart disease in the world.
That's
so
right.
how's that working for us? Not very good. So, saw this article in the Daily Beast. Science shows that low-fat diets are BS, and yet the American Heart Association keeps touting it as a heart-healthy choice. Why? The quick answer, guys, is money. And this is really a concern. I think what's happened is all of us are getting a little smarter, and we're not grabbing those rancid vegetable oils and the crinkly plastic bottles that line 1.5 whole aisles at the grocery store. We're going back to lard. We're going back to coconut oil. And yet there's an article here that was in USA Today, and it says, did you know coconut oil has more saturated fat than lard? With exclamation point.
And this is one of the reasons why we think it's healthy.
We think it's extremely healthy. In fact, lard has benefits over coconut oil as far as I'm concerned,
in a lot of
with
ways.
vitamins A and D.
Right. And the thing is, isn't this the same organization that said a couple of years ago that the studies have been flawed?
Absolutely, it's crazy.
I mean, it's a nuts world, and when the money comes in, they change their minds, I guess.
Oh my gosh,
they can.
I mean, I truly believe, and I say this with conviction. These alphabet organizations, the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, simply cannot be trusted. They are so heavily funded by big food, and most big food is actually frankenfood, so we're not really interested into it. But the truth is, folks, the dogma that saturated fats cause heart disease is crumbling, and people have woken up to that.
Yeah.
And as a result, we're going to get healthier.
Yeah. It says here, before you trash your coconut oil, know that saturated fat is a loaded term. While the AHA warns against it, people who cut saturated fat out of their diet may not necessarily lower their risk of heart disease. A 2015 BMJ review suggested that's because some people fill the void, of course, with sugar, with white flour, and other empty calories like all the other junk that's out there, actually.
Right. So in a recent Cambridge study, analyzed 76 studies where more than 650,000 people were concluded that the current evidence does not support guidelines that recommend low consumption of total saturated fats. Again, saturated fats being vindicated in terms of heart disease. Yet, in the most recent guidelines of the AHA, this is what's caused the media storm of recent, they are holding fast to the antiquated, outdated idea that we must all eat low-fat diets for optimal heart health. It's a stance that at the very best is controversial and at worst dead wrong. And, I'm reading this article. It's written by a practicing cardiologist, 30 years experience, says she agrees with the latter. It's dead wrong. Again, more and more doctors are continuing their education and learning what many of us in the natural health field have been sharing with them for years. They're getting up to speed.
Of course, a lot of people are using coconut oil and MCT oil as a weight loss. And we know that bodybuilders for many years use MCT oil to get kind of lean and mean just before competitions. It says here the reason coconut oil is so popular for weight loss is partially due to my research on medium-chain triglycerides. Marie-Pierre Saint-Onge, which is a professor of nutritional medicine at Cornell University Medical School, said coconut oil has a higher proportion of medium-chain triglycerides than most other fats or oils, and my research is showing that eating this may increase the rate of metabolism more than eating long-chain triglycerides. And we know this. I mean, I consume a lot of butter during the week. I use MCT oil.
Butter's a short chain. And then your polyunsaturated fats are your long chain.
Right.
So the medium to short are the ones that really seem to enhance metabolism, where in effect we don't get that same benefit from some of the seed oils, which are farther on the polyunsaturated.
Yeah, and polyunsaturated fats are the real culprit here, and we always tell people, get rid of those clear oils or those little yellow oils.
Well, they're rancid before they even get to the grocery store because of the light.
And remember, folks, most of these things, and it really began years ago with I think cottonseed oil, when they started using cottonseed oil in Crisco. It used to be lard. Then they changed it to make it look like lard. And the funny thing is, when you manufacture this stuff, it's really gray, ugly in color.
That's for margarine. It is. You're exactly right. It's the color of nickel.
Yeah.
And then they color it.
Then
to
they
make
have to color
look like
it.
butter.
So they came up with these colors. And
but just because it looks like butter, it ain't
in
butter.
the old packs, they used to get this gray pack, and they used to have a little button in there that you push, and then you have to knead it to get that thing in there, because the manufacturing couldn't put it in until the late 50s when they started putting the coloring in, and then you could see that the margarine looks like butter. Far from butter. So
why is the American Heart Association clinging to this outdated information despite the research to the contrary? And this cardiologist says what she discovered was both eye-opening and disturbing. The AHA not only ignores all the other risk factors for heart disease, but it appointed someone with ties to big food and bizarre scientific beliefs to lead the guideline-writing panel. Just the type of thing that undermines the public's confidence in the medical community. In fact, this is just really the truth. People, I think it's so funny when doctors make little jokes. Now, don't you go talk to Dr. Google. Like, oh, you're going to get bad information, Dr. Google. I trust Dr. Google over most doctors today who have not continued their education out of the four walls of medical school.
It says here on this research didn't see a difference between coconut oil and other oils high in saturated fat like butter, beef fat, palm oil. I guess lard is in that thing too. They don't see a bit of difference, but we know that these products are really healthy.
Well, right. So that remember, you're reading from the article that was put out by USA Today, which was basically a paid pundit for this agenda. So let's read someone who's actually contradicting it. We'll just kind of leave that one alone.
Well, it's interesting that they say this, and it's supporting what he says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they've given a few counterpoints and points and counterpoints. But, from a cardiologist standpoint, despite many other known risk factors for heart disease, salt and fat were astonishingly the only two considered by the American Heart Association panel that wrote the guidelines. There are many other recognized factors that they ignored, including blood sugar level, low, good cholesterol. And the truth is, we know that there's no such thing as good and bad cholesterol. That's a lie, too. And insulin levels and the body weight. All of these are influenced by the diet and the dietary choices.
Yeah. And the reason that it's a lie is because it's two different factors. One is they're measuring the blood going into the liver, and the other one is they're measuring the blood going out of the liver, which is not bad cholesterol.
Well,
it's just a different form.
The LDL is the one that's going away, and but it's the carrier protein. It's like the car that's taking the hormones.
Yeah.
So why would you want to have low LDL? You want all that going out, and the HDL is like the cleanup.
Yeah,
but, we can go into detail on that.
And naturally, when we get older, we need the higher numbers.
Let's go on with this, doctor. In fact, most people who have heart attacks, they don't have elevated cholesterol at all. They are much more likely to have metabolic syndrome. That puts you at high risk for diabetes and heart disease. So we'll continue kind of looking at how the news we hear is actually a 180 from what's really going on, whether it's the weather or whether it's heart health. So stay tuned. We'll have more stuff.
We'll be right back.
Be right back.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show. Yeah, okay, what we left on the break is we were talking about that most people who have heart attacks don't have elevated bad cholesterol. They are much more likely to have metabolic syndrome, a condition that puts you at high risk for diabetes and heart disease.
Yeah, and listen, this is the thing. When you go to the doctor, your cholesterol levels are less of a concern, and a good doctor is going to order additional tests that break that down farther. Metabolic syndrome is defined when you have three of the following things. Your triglycerides are high, which are your blood fats,
Right.
when you have high blood sugar, and when you have high blood pressure, and you have low good cholesterol, or the HDL, and a large abdomen measurement, whether you're storing that visceral fat in that area. This is a sign. So interestingly enough, blood triglycerides do not go up with eating fat, folks.
Yeah, they go up.
What causes them to go up?
They go up on a diet that's high in processed grains, starches, and sugar. High carbs.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the
Processed
things.
carbs.
If you have a doctor that's, and I think back at all the days, I remember when I was a child that my dad always had high triglycerides. Cholesterol wasn't really an issue.
Right.
But his triglycerides were always off the chart. Well, he drank a lot, and he ate American diet.
Yeah.
So it was really when he started to change that those triglycerides came down, and those are the things. And of course, he ended up with diabetes. And I mean, so the real reality is you should be watching your ratio, your total cholesterol to your triglycerides. Much smarter way to do it. So really getting the sugars under control. Unfortunately for the proponents of high-carb diets, high blood triglycerides are a major risk factor for heart disease. I've seen some people that, don't even eat meat and so forth. They come in with high triglycerides because they're eating a lot of sugars, even healthy fruits sometimes.
Yeah, I think the fruit is another problem. A lot of people eat fruits out of season. I think seasonal fruit is not too bad. But if you eat it out of season and eat it all the time, like in Florida, if you drink orange juice every single morning, this is much the same as eating your bread.
Yeah, that's like putting you into fat storage mode right out the get-go.
Yeah,
When the sun comes up.
It starts your morning off by switching you over. You've been fasting all night. You're likely into a fat-burning mode.
And winter orange is actually in season in Florida in the winter.
They're actually in the winter, but also they're not indigenous to Florida. They're indigenous to China, where, interestingly enough, in China, they do not use that as food. They use it as garnishment.
Yeah, interesting.
They use it as a spritz.
small amount, yeah.
Small amount. And they use the rind. They use the skin. They use it. It's a very medicinal plant over there. But would they think of eating a tangerine or an orange? No.
I think that would make an interesting show, to just talk about the seasonality and the indigenous nature of certain foods. I just think we've gotten it all so mixed up in this global stuff that we're doing.
Well,
that we've mixed
it's
up where
kind of
our
like
food comes
potatoes.
from.
Potatoes were never around until, we started going to the high Andes, where the potatoes grow in Bolivia. And then they brought them back. And certainly
What
some
about
of these...
the Irish and the potatoes?
Yeah, well, the thing is, these people, people use these things to save their lives in many instances.
When the animal foods were scarce.
Yeah, exactly.
The weather was cold.
And a lot of these things were to extend those animal foods, like rice was in the Far East, and like corn was over here in Mexico and in the southern states of Gitmo Nation here.
So let's get back to this cardiologist, Barbara Roberts, 30-year cardiologist, stating, quite frankly, the statin guidelines were changed in 2013, yet you still don't hear it because they just really don't want to upset their advertisers.
Right.
And it really, showed that, the AHA dietary guidelines do not cite any diet studies that look at whether following a specific diet lowered the risk of developing cardiac events, yet they are giving dietary advice. And why? There might be two plausible reasons. One is the AHA's money-making heart check program. The second is the conflict of interest and the curious beliefs of Robert Eckel, the co-chair of the panel that wrote the guidelines. I'm not even familiar with this heart check program. They wrote it in 1995. I think that's what you see on the cereal boxes where they got a check mark.
Yeah.
So they can say Cheerios are part of a heart healthy program, but the walnut growers that have vitamin E, which we know is good,
you can't say anything about that. Yeah. So these are in products like Quaker Oats and Campbell's Soups and all these types of processed food, and 40%.
They sell this, by the way.
Yeah, they sell this as
heart check
healthy.
stamp.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's over 400 of these. Some of them are meat. There's 92 processed meats. Some of them, of course, are the grains and the sugar. Even more problematic is that all these foods contain added sugar to them.
How about this? This program currently endorses 889 foods. It's heart healthy, and they have to pay $1,000 to $7,500 for this. Folks, that's just crazy, and we know that these are not heart-healthy foods. The research is showing it. It's not the only way the AHA benefits from big food companies. In their annual report for 2012 and 2013, the AHA listed among its lifetime donors of $1 million from ConAgra, Quaker Oats, and Campbell's Soup, among others. So 45% of these heart-healthy foods, over 400 of them are meat, 92 are processed meats. And we know these are just not healthy foods.
Yeah, they have been shown to either be neutral or negative effects
But how
on your
many
health.
people go to the grocery store and they trust this information? And they see this, I can eat this because
It's
the
on the
American
commercial.
Heart Association says this is healthy for me.
That's all about the commercials. It's, we're constantly being sold, and I've often said that we're the product, actually. They're selling us. They're selling it to us, but they're all selling us too. They're selling our lifestyle. They're selling everything that we are. They sell our names. They sell our stats to other companies. We end up being the products, and that's the real shame of the whole thing. It's so easy to be healthy if you just don't use these things.
Well, we just get back to living a primal lifestyle and knowing where our food comes from. Listen to this. Like the dietary guidelines, it was until this year the Heart Check approved many foods with trans fats. They actually approved foods with trans fats. Which we know they do cause elevated improper ratios of the cholesterols. I don't like to even call them bad and good. It's the outgoing and the ingoing, and we know there's a good ratio for those. And, many of these trans fats are what cause the elevated inflammation and the laying down of calcium in the arteries, which is not good.
Like the dietary guidelines, the AHA Heart Check program appears to address only certain foods on cholesterol level and blood pressure and things like that. So,
it seems like they're pretty much instigated by who's padding their pockets, it looks like to me. So let's bring up this Dr. Robert Eckel, again, the co-chair of the working group of the AHA's Food Check program. He is a consultant for Food Minds, which specializes in food, beverage, nutrition, health, and wellness. Food Minds works with more than 30 leading food, beverage, and nutrition to offer a one-stop shop of consulting to guide food and beverage companies in navigating the complexities around the upcoming FDA nutritional facts label overhaul. I think it's more like, how can you figure out how your food can get away with it?
Well, just the troubling that these are companies that sell liquids that for us to drink when we know what's the best thing to drink. We know it's water. We know it's structured water, by the way. But also is that most of the things that you and I drink are maybe just a little coffee, a little tea, and water, and that's
and maybe
pretty
a
much
little
it.
wine, and maybe a little beer on a Friday night.
Definitely a little wine and a little alcohol. So yeah, definitely that's true. And I think if your diet is great, those things are actually beneficial. Whereas you have a bad diet and then you add alcohol on top of it, it's not as much of a cleanser as it is a shock to the system. So I really do believe that our ancestors knew that alcohol and things like that can actually be beneficial, but the diet has to come first. That's the way I see it.
Exactly.
And, of course, not overindulging in those things. If you're getting drunk every night, that's not going to work either. So,
we should be able to trust organizations that are designed to help us be healthy. But as we know, Marcia Ingalls from the New England Journal of Medicine said after 30 years she was no longer able to trust research from private interests. So let's pay attention. Be back in a minute.
you know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. And an article here by Amy Meyer, and she says 10 signs you have autoimmune disease and how to reverse it. Of course, I remember you saying many times that there's really no such thing as an autoimmune disease, but there kind of is, isn't there?
Well, let me kind of explain that comment. Okay. You know, autoimmunity has increased threefold over the last 50 years, and it currently affects between 50 and 75 million Americans. But what I want to say, and this has a lot to do with what I learned from my mentor, Dr. Bob Marshall, is that actually we are alone. The U.S. is alone, kind of like we're alone in fluoridating our water.
Right.
We are alone in making a big deal about the autoimmune diseases as if there's some mysterious thing, because that allows the drug companies to say, oh, you've got this itis and this one and this algia,
and
here's the drug for it. But the truth is, the rest of the world knows completely that the root cause of autoimmune diseases are the fact that you are suffering an attack from a bug, an allergen, a fungus, or something in the body. Makes no mistake, this is a wonderful creation, and it is working hard to save your life.
Right.
And it's not making the mistake of attacking itself by accident. It's in serious warfare against something that's threatening your life.
It's being attacked from so many different ways.
It's being attacked by something else, and your body is mounting a huge attack to. So really the key is we've got to help our body fight the infection. And you know, whether it's whatever the infection is, we need to help the body find these things. And as Amy Myers, MD, says, autoimmune diseases are born when your body is working hard to defend itself against something potentially dangerous. This could be an allergen, it could be a toxin, an infection, or even a food. You know, the leaky gut in the food. And it fails to differentiate between the intruder and parts of your body. That's what used to give Dr. Marshall the cringes. The body is truly, it's like collateral damage. You know, the body is firing to get rid of these invaders desperately because they see them as a tremendous threat. Rightly so.
Yeah.
And our body gets in the way. But it's not like the body can't tell. That's what used to make him mad. It's not like the body can't tell that your own body is friend or foe. It's just getting in the way.
Yeah, it fails to differentiate between the intruder and the parts of your own body. But what's really happening,
I don't like that comment.
Right. It's actually just it's being overwhelmed so much.
Well, it's just like
the signaling
just
is
like
not
in
there
a
anymore.
war, when our soldiers are over there and there's some collateral damage, it wasn't that they didn't know. They just simply were all-out attack to get the invader.
Yeah.
And some of our body gets in the way. So do you understand the difference in what I'm saying?
Well, I do, because what's happening is we're getting attacked from so many different ways. Your body just doesn't know which way to go. And it's a thing that's happened over many, many years. In other words, that bread you've been eating causing your skin to flake and maybe having dandruff, that's the sign that is there first. And you say, well, I'll put a little topical stuff on here and I'll be okay.
Right.
But from the inside out, you're being sick.
So let's get to it.
And it accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. So what are the signs?
10 signs you may have an autoimmune disease, according to Dr. Amy Meyer, MD. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, especially a combination of them, you may have an autoimmune disease that you need to check a little farther. And what that means is you have an infection or an intruder who is not welcome, and your body's doing everything to get it out. I like it if you think of it that way.
Yeah, and also that it's these are little things that you will never associate with a disease. It's kind of like a little annoyance here
Insidious,
and there.
yeah.
But there's many of them.
One might be joint, muscle, or weakness, or a tremor. Number two.
Number two is weight loss, insomnia, heat intolerance, or a rapid heartbeat.
A lot of men tell me, but more women, they'll say, I eat dinner and then I sit down to relax and watch TV and my heart starts racing.
Okay.
Tie that heart racing back to what did you eat?
The digestion.
What did you eat? Your digestive system is seeing this as an all-out
Because that's
threat.
the only change that took place. You took some food in and now you're sitting down and your body's starting to digest it and now the problems come.
Yeah, it's saying, holy cow, this is not supposed to be here. Number three, reoccurring rashes or hives, sun sensitivity, or maybe a butterfly rash across the face. Classic sign of lupus, which is severe immune system distress.
There's difficulty in concentrating or focusing.
Sure, brain fog. Or number five, feeling fatigued and tired and weight gain and intolerance.
Cold
perhaps
intolerance too.
That's
in there. Yeah.
That typical when we're seeing the thyroid is stressed.
Like when you get your feet cold, you're sitting on the couch watching TV, your feet gets cold. Maybe that's a sign.
Yeah.
Hair loss, white patches on the skin or inside your mouth.
Well, that gives you an idea of a fungal infection.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the white patches. Any white, you can think fungus.
Okay.
Abdominal pain, blood or mucus in your stool, diarrhea. This can be serious signs of digestive system distress.
Dry eyes, a dry mouth, or dry skin is another sign.
And numbness or tingling in the hands or feet. I was reading an article the other day that a woman had been diagnosed with MS, and then finally, she had someone holistically. It didn't make sense. There were some other things, and finally, a doctor helped her determine that it was her gluten sensitivity.
Yeah, that's a good doctor that he's not going by the general thing. He's digging deeper.
Since we know that food can be one of the biggest culprits in autoimmunity and stressing the immune system, because that's what it is. It's a stressed immune system. The immune system saying something bad's coming. I want to protect you, but so get out of the way. But there's some collateral damage, and you start doing elimination diet. It's one of the most powerful things we can do. I have to tell people, give it up for 90 days. See if you see a difference. You can always go back to it. People are afraid that means forever, but most of the time when you find out that that's causing your problem, you have no problem giving it up.
Yeah, and I like the old veterinarian. You go to the vet, you bring your cat or dog in there, and you say it's not feeling well. The first thing they ask you is what?
Right.
What did you feed the dog?
It's always about the food. So what causes autoimmunity, folks, and how can you reverse it? Well, conventional medicine will tell you that autoimmune diseases are caused by genetics, because that gives them the ability to have some big woo-woo mystery thing so they can come out with something they can sell you on one of those commercials you watch when you're flopped on the sofa. But that's not the case, because we know it's less than 10% of all diseases caused by genetics. Genetics is the gun you're pointing at your head, but your lifestyle and your choices are the trigger. Okay?
Exactly right.
So
we could all get this if we start eating badly. But the point is that the show is all about eating great food.
So I like what she says. As a physician, she says that by addressing environmental factors, you can not only prevent autoimmune diseases, but you can reverse them after they develop. I love that word reverse. They haven't co-opted that word. So we can say, well, we'd like to reverse a condition, go backwards.
Yeah.
You know, that's safer than cure. So what are the environmental factors and how can you overcome them?
There's a little pie chart here.
Nice little pie chart, a little root cause pie chart. Look, it's all of those things: leaky gut, diet, toxins, infection, and stress. These are all things that you can control.
Remember, all autoimmune diseases are a problem of the immune system. It is by addressing the root cause above that eases the burden over your immune system that caused it to go rogue and attack your own cells in the first place.
Okay, so again, I'm going to preface what she says. No offense, I know she's a doctor, but your immune system is not going rogue. Your immune system is on strategic attack. It's just that your body is in the way.
That's right.
Like, do we assume that in a battle that our soldiers are going rogue? No, they're doing what they need to do, right?
Yeah.
So I think, no offense, Dr. Amy Meyer, I like you, but I'm just...
Well, I think she's
I'm
trying
just
to make it
suggesting
explain.
that I want us to respect the fact that our God-given body is an intelligent design from the Creator.
It's just be overloaded. That's what it is.
It's overloaded.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to help make that transition. So, you have the ability to take health back into your own hands, and that's what we're here to do at Living a Primal Lifestyle. Give you those tips, tools, and techniques to help you feel better, live longer, and stronger. Ooh.
Nice little recipe here in the current...
Cauliflower hamburger casserole.
Yeah, this is really easy to make. It's delicious, and it even looks great. So check that out.
Be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Up next, 9 before 9 with John Logan on TFNN.
Welcome back. Got an interesting article here. What is cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome? and I had never heard of this, but I found a couple of articles on it.
So let's give a definition, folks,
Okay.
so that we don't get all freaked out by the words. Do you have CHS or cannabinoid hypermeresis syndrome? Well, hypermeresis is nausea.
Right.
Okay.
And it's,
So do you have cannabinoid nausea syndrome?
and it's a rare form of toxicity that develops in chronic smokers of marijuana. It's characterized by cyclical episodes of debilitating nausea and vomiting. And people who suffer from this syndrome often find that hot showers relieve their symptoms, and they will compulsively bathe during the episodes of the nausea and the vomiting.
So instead of realizing they smoke too much weed, they just want to go get in the shower and get the nausea. They want to,
Well, maybe the same thing that compelled them to smoke the marijuana is the same thing they're going to take the shower for. It's a compulsive
Well,
thing.
I think this is a
It's a
perfect-
very rare, but it's not to do with any ingestion, so it has to do something with the smoke. And when you're smoking marijuana, you get a lot more of different kinds of the chemicals. There's over 400 chemicals in there,
Right.
and maybe one or two of those chemicals are
Can
not
create
agreeing.
nausea.
Can create nausea.
So this is
funny
not-
though, but I've heard many times that if you have nausea, smoking marijuana will actually ease the nausea.
Well,
so this is
that's one of the reasons that cancer patients use it. It actually
Exactly
eases it.
right.
But it's like anything else. I mentioned to you, the cure or the poison, the difference is the dose.
Yeah, exactly.
The difference is the dose. And so this could very well be a perfect example. They called it, like we said, it's mistakenly called cyclical vomiting syndrome. I think this is a pure sign of maybe in some of these states that have legalized the marijuana, some people are just overdoing it a bit. And, we're all different. And we can all tolerate things to a different level.
Well, you're going to this level. I mean, I'm not really sure what the dosage is. It might be different for people, but what I've read so far are these clinical studies, and they've done some of them for about 16 years, is that it's really, really heavy doses of just the smoking of it. So there has to be
It
something
says here,
besides.
CHS is a very rare syndrome, and it is easily cured by stopping the consumption of cannabis.
Yeah.
So, but leave it to the drug companies. We'll be seeing a television commercial that says, "Do you have CHS syndrome?
probably have a nice
Have you
pill
been
for that."
sitting around on the sofa toking your weed? We've got a pill for that. Take this to ease your nausea instead of just
possible.
telling you, hey, wake up, maybe you're smoking too much."
Maybe you're just smoking
You know?
too much. Yeah, and smoking may be not the best way to take it. There's lots of other ways.
So
but
if you know anyone that has these symptoms of CHS, tell him or her to go to a doctor and stop smoking. I like that common sense a little bit better than medicating it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had never heard of this, and I've been doing research on cannabis for quite a while, and there's a lot of good things about it too, but obviously there's bad things about it too, and I think our government would like us to believe that because it's a very highly addictive Class 1 drug, that probably this is what's causing it, but that's not the case. It's not one of those drugs that is.
And this article made
addictive
it
at all.
on a regular news station, some KKTV, Channel 11, same thing.
Yeah, and I found
so
an
they're
article in
they're
High
putting
Times,
this out. It's certainly something that before legislation we almost never saw. So it's just like anything else. We have a habit of not knowing balance. Whether it be alcohol, whether it be gambling, whether it be exercising too much, we tend to think that, we can't get too much of a good thing. But, folks, that's not
Let me
true.
finish
The
with
difference
this.
between the cure and the poison is the dose.
It says it might sound scary, but it's very rare. I've known smokers all my life and only recently have heard of it online. People are blaming the recent increased popularity of dabs. Those are really high concentration where they make the concentrates out of. And these dabs, they put on a thing and they heat it at a real high temperature, and you take in a heck of a lot of THC.
Right.
And I
Exactly.
think
That's
maybe
using the essential oil, sort of like the people that are just overdoing it on the
microdosing
essential
is the
oils.
key to most drugs. Like you said, it's the dose.
It sure is. Folks, have a wonderful day.
Yep.
Stay healthy. We'll see you next show.
Thanks a lot, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his Opening Call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the Opening Call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.